We gotta change the world. Yeah. People with lived experience institute, source of solution, unapologetic truth, radical leaders, because people matter. Yeah, because people matter. We have lived through inequities. We know the challenges. We have the solutions. We address voice. We address power dynamics. We address inequities. System transformation through explicit truth. Explicit truth is bold. Explicit truth is uncomfortable. We are not here to make you comfortable, but we're here for change. Explicit truth is uncomfortable. We are not here to make you comfortable, but we're here for change. People with lived experience institute. Our community wants to live. Our community wants to thrive. People with lived experience, leading with unapologetic truth, radical leadership for change. We live through inequities. We know the challenges. We have the solutions. We address voice. We address power dynamics. We address equities. System transformation through explicit truth. Explicit truth is bold. Explicit truth is uncomfortable. We are not here to make you comfortable, but we're here for change. Explicit truth is uncomfortable. We are not here to make you comfortable, but we're here for change. People with lived experience institute. People with lived experience institute. Yeah. Oh. We gotta change the world, change the world.
My name is Delanie Seals.
And my name is Izzy Miller.
And today we'll be presenting our presentation over our journey fighting hair and headwear discrimination in Oklahoma. So the agenda for the presentation, the first thing we'll talk about is us. The second thing is a history of natural hair and headwear. The third thing will be learning to love our hair and culture. The fourth thing is changing mixed headwear policy.
The fifth item on the agenda is headwear and hair discrimination in Oklahoma. The sixth thing is how other cities can change their dress code. The seventh thing is what is a Crown Act? And the last but not least is proposing the Crown Act in Oklahoma. Again, my name is Izzy, and a little bit about me. I identify as non-binary, so therefore my pronouns are they, them, theirs. I recently turned 19, and I'm one of the co-founders of Interracial Activists. And I've lived in Oklahoma my whole entire life. I eventually want to move, but and I'm a freshman at East Central University right here in Ada. My major is social work with a minor in political science.
So again, I'm Delanie, and my pronouns are she, her. I'm also a co-founder of Interracial Activists. I'm 19 years old, an Oklahoma resident, freshman at East Central University, and my major is political science, and I want to have a minor in Spanish.
So, a timeline of natural hair and headwear. 1400 to 1500, when Europeans came to the trade in the west coast of Africa, they saw Africans who wore elaborate hairstyles, including locks, plaits, and twists. 1700, black hair was compared to wool, which led to the negative stereotypes that we know now. The Tian Law was passed, which forced black women to wear head wraps because their beautiful, elaborate hairstyles were considered a threat to the status quo. 1800, without the combs and herbal treatments used in Africa, slaves had to rely on bacon grease, butter, and kerosene as hair conditioners and cleaners. Can y'all imagine now? Also, lighter skinned, straight haired slaves were being priced higher at auctions more than the darker skinned, more kinky haired slaves. In 1880, metal hot combs invented in 1845 by the French were heated and were used to press and temporarily straighten kinky hair to obtain good hair. 1900, Madam C.J. Walker developed a range of black hair care products, and Miss Walker became the first female self-made millionaire.
So to continue, in 1920, Marcus Garvey, a black nationalist, urged followers to embrace their natural hair and reclaim an African aesthetic. In 1954, George E. Johnson launched the Johnson Products empire with a permanent hair straightener for men, also referred to as like a relaxer now. And this what followed was a women's chemical straightener. In 1960 to 1970, the Black is Beautiful movement, which rejected Eurocentric standards and embraced black hair, came about. This also led to activist Angela Davis becoming an icon of black power with her large afro, and it signified the fight for racial equality in the United States. In 1971, Melba Tolliver was fired from the ABC affiliate in New York for wearing an afro while covering Trisha Nixon's wedding. In 1997, singer Erykah Badu posed on the cover of her debut album, Baduizm, with her head wrapped, ushering an eclectic brand of Afrocentrism.
So in 2006, Baltimore police, their standards were prohibiting hairstyles such as cornrows, dreadlocks, and twists. These hairstyles were deemed to be extreme and a fad by the department. 2008 to 2016, this is when the wave of natural hair care videos on YouTube really inspired influencers to talk about natural hair and how to show us how to do our hair. And this also helped the Black hair care industry become a $1 million industry. 2018, Faith Fendi left her Louisiana school after she was told her braids violated the school policy. 5 months later, Black teen Andrew Johnson was forced to cut his dreadlocks or forfeit his wrestling match in New Jersey. 2019, California was the first state in the nation to make it illegal to discriminate against hairstyles with the Crown Act. 2020, the House of Representatives passed the Crown Act. This bill prohibits hair discrimination against those participating in federal assisted programs, housing programs, public accommodations, and employment.
So before we kind of wanted to talk about our journey of changing our policy and proposing legislation, we kind of wanted to touch on learning to love our hair. As you know, in the timeline, we talked about monumental moments in history where, Black hair was able to be, expressed, be able to be loved by not just other people, but Black people, because and that's an essential part. Personally, for me, this was also a part of my journey. On the left, you can see that I had very straight hair, and that was a thing for me to always straighten my hair to try to like fit into the other people, or like what are the other girls at my school had, which were like super straight hair. And of course, that was never attainable, but I tried my best, and it didn't work out. I even went through a weird moment where I would like straighten my bangs and then like leave my hair curly. It was like very strange. My journey of learning to embrace my hair was definitely difficult. Growing up, I had my hair in braids or, you know, etc. And, you know, later on, that's when I kind of explored taking care of my own hair. My mom is white and my dad is black. And, you know, on my dad's side, I definitely had those people that helped me in different ways, like with grease or like, yeah, just grease and like what was that pink stuff? It was like,
Pink lotion.
yeah,
Yes.
that's what we used to like use all the time. And I obviously started to use that myself. And you know, my mom, she always was really advocating for me to like wear my hair natural and that you know, hair is beautiful, and my dad also too. So yeah, and then learning like products. I credit YouTube a whole bunch because without YouTube, I would have never really knew like the right way to take care of my hair, and not just taking care of my hair, but learning to actually love my hair. Just seeing like the passion in, you know, the videos that I, like the people that I watched in loving their hair and like learning how to take care of it was really inspiring to me. So of course, now you see on the right, there's me. You know, obviously my hair is natural, and then you have me today with my bangs and etc. It was definitely a journey, and growing up, you know, I did. A lot of my family did have negative views of black hair or like, you know, my hair, and you know, thinking that it was nappy or that it was just you need to, what was it, like fix your kitchen, like what is those things, you need to like fix your hair, you need to like straighten it or do something with that, you know, all those phrases. So and I definitely don't blame them, because I do like I understand the world that they grew up in and the way that their hair was perceived. So I mean, I don't have hostility towards my family, definitely in that way. And I just blame society for, you know, all these negative views about curly and kinky hair.
So my hair journey is a bit similar, but also different. So growing up, my hair was always in braids. I know so many, you know, Black people had knockers. Me, you know, them hitting me in my eye.
Yeah, you like knocked out some stars.
And you know, breads and stuff like that. I had box braids and I had cornrows, but I was never allowed to wear my hair like it is now. Every time I got my hair taken down out of weave, I would get a relaxer or I would straighten it, one or the other. My hair was never allowed to be like it is now. And I remember 10th grade, I was just like, I don't even feel like myself. I don't even know what to do with my hair. And at that time, I was going to a predominantly white school until I graduated. And there wasn't a lot of Black girls. There were just Black people in general. And majority of them did wear weave. And a lot of them were mixed race. So their hair was a lot looser. And I can admit, I kind of was jealous because I was like, I had never worn my hair like that. So I decided that I was going to cut all my hair off. So I did a big chop. I cut all the straight parts off. And I remember my mom being so angry at me, telling me, why would you do that? Why do you want to wear an afro for? I'm like, because I want to. It's my hair, you know, and I shouldn't have to ask permission about my hair that grows out of my scalp. So, you know, I haven't had a perm since 9th grade. That picture on the right, that was me in 9th grade, and I had a relaxer. And that's the last time I had a relaxer. And honestly, I'm happy that I didn't get a relaxer or a texturizer or anything like that. And then me on the right, that was this year. And I have done 3 big chops since sophomore year. And for me, the reason why I do it so much is because it's just hair. And if I can't expect other people to love me if I don't love me, and I cut my hair short as possible because I want to see how it looks and how much I will feel. So, you know, doing different hairstyles or dyeing my hair. I've dyed my hair so many times. So many. You know, good thing and bad thing. But I'm just happy now I'm more comfortable. And also, you know, like growing up in our family, you know, there was people who did help me, you know, told me about like pink lotion and cream of nature and stuff like that. But there was also people who were like, why would you cut your hair? Like, that's so ugly. You need to get a relaxer. Your hair is nappy. You got those BBs right here and just other stuff. And I would just feel so bad. But now I'm just like, that's your own insecurity. And me, I love myself. And, you know, growing up and not hearing that my hair was beautiful really did affect me when I got older. But now the only person I need to hear that from is me.
Right. Yeah. So that's our journey to not only just loving our hair, but loving other people's hair too.
Mhm.
So that, because that was a process for me. You know, obviously, if you think negatively about your hair, you're gonna think negatively about other people's hair. So it's just like, you know, a cycle of negative stereotypes.
Mhm.
And when you're able to break that, it's very relieving. Not financially, because it's expensive,
It is expensive.
but
Ooh,
you know, like emotionally, you just feel a lot better, and you know, it's just not another thing that you don't have to worry about, because there's already so many Eurocentric standards that, you know, loom over our heads, you know, nose, like lips, like etc. So once you're able to like at least cut it, like an essential part of that out, it just, it's so relieving. So, you know, talking about our natural hair and the journey to embracing our curls and learning to love our hair and other people's hair. This also came with learning how to learn about our culture and research. And this is, you know, personally when I learned about, well, not really learned about, but actually started wearing head wraps. You know, I saw people in my family wearing head wraps, but I
Mhm.
just never really just connected
Understood.
it. Yeah, I never
Mhm.
understood, and I just never thought, like, if I couldn't even wear my hair, why would I ever wear a head wrap?
Yeah.
So like around like my 9th and 10th grade, that's when I kind of like wanted to actually wear a head wrap. And as weird as that sounds, it was like it was a hard choice to make. And I'm glad that I made that choice. So this is a story of us changing Bing's headwear policy. So our advocacy story. In 2017, during our sophomore year of high school, I decided to wear an African head wrap to express my, you know, cultural identity. That was the thing that I was learning and I was embracing and I was loving. So I started doing different styles with my hair, and this when I obviously wore a head wrap. Later on in that year, my principal unfortunately stopped me and asked, you know, what is that thing on my head, and different questions like that. I explained to him that it was like a part of my cultural identity and that is an important part of me. And unfortunately, that was not enough. So he proceeded to take me into his office and Googled pictures of Black women in head wraps. And it was just a very awkward and demeaning moment for me. And it was just, you know, I knew that I could have gotten trouble for my head wrap, but I never thought it would actually be an actual problem. It was just more of like my own insecurities or my own, you know, anxieties. But yeah, that's what happened in 2017. And then in 2018, Izzy the following week wore a headscarf in support of me, and we just continued to wear it because nothing was said. So, but that's also when we had a new principal.
Mhm.
So, you know, I guess he was just used to us wearing it, and then I guess he kind of questioned it. So the next week he told us that we weren't allowed to wear head wraps anymore because they went against the headwear policy. You know, he had various reasons, such as like his responses were, it's a distraction and anyone can say anything, it's part of their culture. Like I could wear a cowboy hat and call it my culture. Just like various things like that
The safety concern.
safety concerns.
Mhm.
It just, you know, a lot of a lot of the reasonings for why we couldn't wear a head wrap were just, it didn't make any sense. So of course, you know, we weren't just going to stand for that. We were going to kind of question it more and have more meetings with him.
Mhm. So for months, we had multiple meetings, like Delanie just mentioned, and it kind of got nowhere. And then we request meetings with our superintendent because the superintendent and the school board, they're the ones that create the policy. So we wanted to talk to them. And we had to go through our principal first, and he said we were going to have a meeting. Never happened.
Mm-hmm.
And towards the end of our junior year, we really did kind of give up, and we're just like, what else can we do? Like, we can't talk to anyone. We're having these meetings, but it's like going nowhere. It's like talking to a brick wall, them not understanding what this means to us. And it's like, why are we even being questioned in the first place? Just because you haven't been exposed to cultural headwear and other cultural items, that's not our problem.
Yeah.
So we stopped pursuing the situation as much. And the first part of our senior year, we decided that we were going to get the policy changed. And it's really funny because we had no plan to do this at all.
Yeah, we were just like,
Literally.
we're gonna get a change, and then we're like, wait,
How do we do this?
dot.
Yeah.
How is this gonna happen?
And so then Delanie decided to wear her head wrap the first week of our senior year. And she was starting with ISD, unfortunately. And of course, being scared and that year we were going to graduate, and graduation could get took from us, so she did remove it, unfortunately.
So, after that incident, that's when we kind of realized that this issue is not going to get any better if we don't actually put, action to our words. And so at this point, we started researching other people who had faced discrimination because of their natural hair or cultural headwear. This is when we came across the Crown Act. It was an awesome thing to find because it seemed like there were people fighting for us before we even thought about it.
Yeah.
We were actually thinking about like legislation and things like that. So it was just an amazing moment to come across that. And then we also used Andrew Johnson's Tully and Cleopatra's story as inspiration for for us to go ahead and try to change this policy, because if we don't do it, who else will?
Mhm.
So in 2019, we reached out to Ann Woe and the ADL, and they helped us fight against our school's policy. I'll also say Savior VI. They helped us a lot. Oh my goodness! So in
So
trying to like
much.
prepare a plan, but yeah. And then later on, we used our activism page to educate people about the our situation in the Crown Act, interracial activists. That's what we had already made that page for activism, but we kind of like left it alone for a little bit, and we
Mhm.
thought about why don't we use this to share our story and maybe inspire other people across the nation to change their policy, because
Mhm.
we don't just this isn't just a problem at our school or in Oklahoma, but
It
obviously
affects so many people. So
obviously
many.
from our research we could tell that this was a bigger issue than people made it out to be. So yeah.
So in 2019, we decided that we were going to wear our head wraps. We didn't care what happened at that point, and it was either remove our head wraps or take in-school detention. And unfortunately, we were placed in in-school
Yeah.
detention for 8 hours. Being in there with people for fighting and graffiti, and then they were asking us, "So why are you in here?" We're like, "For wearing cultural headwear," and they looked at us like we were crazy. Yeah, we're wondering the same thing. Why are we in here? And so after that week that we were in detention, we decided to reach out to blogs um, and news stations. And I'm telling you, we emailed so many people. It was not easy. I can say, me personally, and even you, but
Yeah.
emailing people every day, and just trying to figure out what to do. And finally, we've got in touch with the news, and we did a news interview, and that really gave us a lot of exposure. There was people calling our school, emailing them, telling them like, "Hey, you need to change your policy." I remember being in the office one day and hearing the phone just going off, and then just getting so frustrated. And I just thought it was the funniest thing.
Yeah.
And it took 3 months. It took 3 months of discussions with our school officials to finally have the headwear policy changed. On October 14th, 2019, I did get the opportunity to speak at the school board. And December 9th, our policy was changed. And yesterday was the 1 year anniversary of getting the policy changed. And I'm just so happy. And again, it took so much research. It was not easy, sophomore year to senior year. That was really hard. And I'm not going to sugarcoat. Like, there was times where I was like, Delanie, I don't even know if I'm going to do this. I'm just so tired. Like, I remember I would go home and sometimes literally just cry, because it's like, I'm fighting for it's just annoying, fighting for this thing, and so many others going through similar things and getting absolutely nowhere. So, but fortunately for us, our policy was changed, but there's so many other people out there that are still fighting till this day. That's why now we have laws like the Crown Act to protect people of color.
Yeah, and I also want to mention that, two things I want to mention. So like during when we were at ISD, there was this girl that like slipped a note to me and was like, thank you, like what you're doing is amazing. And it's just like little things like that. And knowing that we were being put in in ISD for something. I mean, we say as simple as a head wrap, it means a lot to us, but the fact that that's what is troublesome to them is just it was just a lot. And then I forgot the other thing I was going to mention, but yeah, I just wanted to like throw that in there. And it's just it was really hard to see that our efforts didn't seem like they were being taken seriously. And that we could just easily be thrown in ISD, and that would be like the way to to like shut us up. So, and obviously it wasn't.
So a 2-year battle finally won, and we got so many opportunities to be featured in articles. The first one is Vice, and I say honestly that is my favorite one. I remember getting that email, and I literally was like, Delanie,
Yeah,
oh
my
my,
mouth like
oh my God. And then this is the Chicken Fried News. This is in Oklahoma, locally. And the third one is The Hill, and I still can't believe that happened.
yeah. When I saw that, I was like,
So that was amazing, and it really did let us know that there are people that are watching us, and they might not understand what we're going through, but they know what is happening is wrong. And thank God for them even, sharing our story and even doing that.
So what our goals were, we kind of wanted to summarize like 3 points of like our fight. So the first thing was researching. We spent countless hours researching Oklahoma state and federal laws that would work in our favor. This is when we came across the title or the Civil Rights Act, Title VI. Savior BI actually really helped us with finding this. Challenging, we spoke to our principals, superintendents, and school board members about a more inclusive version of our headwear policy, the verbiage, like what it could say, and how it can be more inclusive to other students. And then winning. So we wanted to make sure that the headwear policy was written and that that it was changed before we graduated. We didn't want to like graduate and
Not be able to do anything.
Yeah, and then we could have done something, but us being in school and experiencing it was a lot more. It was easier to fight for our cause.
So discrimination in Oklahoma, the story I'm speaking about is about Tolley Birdshead. Tolley attended Latta High School when he was forced to cut his hair for basketball. That was just their policy. They wanted every male to look the same and have their hair cut short, which is discriminatory in itself. So during Tolley's senior year of high school, he was excited for graduation because he was going to receive an honor cord from his tribe, the Chickasaw Nation. He was going to wear his beaded cap and an eagle feather to acknowledge his native tribes. He is a part of 5 different tribes and his accomplishments, but his high school said it violated the dress code. Tolley then received help from the ACLU to be able to wear his native regalia, and he got to address his school board. On May 7th, 2019, Latta changed its policy to allow students to wear their ceremonial items on graduation. And I just want to add that in itself, telling someone who is a person of color what they can or cannot do is wrong in itself. Again, you might not understand what an eagle feather means to you or a beaded cap, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't matter because it's a huge issue. And, if you don't know, eagle feathers basically are saying like, you've done great things, you have accomplishments. And it means a lot to Native students. We are Native, I'm part of the Choctaw Nation. She's a part of the Chickasaw Nation. And, we personally didn't wear feathers at graduation, but I know if I personally wanted to, I shouldn't be questioning over it. Again, if you don't understand it, you can ask, but there's a way of asking that question.
Yeah, and especially on the indigenous land, like really,
yes.
Especially,
in Oklahoma on Chickasaw land.
It's just, it's if you look at the history, so that's another thing that we kind of want to include in this is like, we keep talking about Black hair and that's mainly the thing about the Crown Act, but we also want to emphasize indigenous struggles when it comes to hair and headwear discrimination, because it is an issue, a huge issue, and especially for it to happen in Oklahoma, a place that's like sadly is a place for Native Americans to live. When it came to like the Trail of Tears and everything, and the fact that despite all of that they are still being discriminated against, and there's still like microaggressions like of assimilation in our school system. It's just insane to me. And again, people think this is a small issue, but it's not. If you look at our history and you look at the history of America when it comes to like discrimination or assimilation, it's kind of, when you learn about it, you realize that of course this is going to happen. Like why else would this not happen? So it's not surprising when you research it, but it still doesn't take away that it's horrible. It's horrible and it's sad. So another story that we wanted to talk about that was similar to Tolley's is Marissa's story. So she's one of our friends, and I also have like personal relation to this story as well. So in 2018, Marissa's brother Billy was graduating from high school, her brother showed up to cap and gown pictures wearing his eagle feather, and they told him to remove it and try to take it off his cap. Her mother spoke to school faculty and was told that he couldn't wear, he wouldn't be allowed to walk on the stage if he wore his eagle feather because they wanted everyone to be the same, to look the same. The following year, LADA changed their policy, thanks to Tully, and a new policy was created to allow Native regalia at graduation. This also kind of inspired me and Marissa to fight for a change to Bing's policy as well, because if Tully could do it, we could definitely do it. So I was in the process of like trying to change this in the headwear policy. I do give Marissa her credit because I was focusing on both, that she fought she got more legal advisors than me, and we definitely had our fair share of meetings with our principals. So I give her credit, and that's why we wanted to add her into the slide. And what she was able to accomplish was amazing. So on July 11th, 2020, Marissa when we graduated, she wore her brother's eagle feather at graduation in support of him and her accomplishments. So, and the fact that, that she was a princess for her tribe, and that, her culture was so, yes, I'm Indigenous, and I love my culture, I love my language, and I love my people. But for her to be so connected to her Indigenous side, and to want to be able to express something, and to wear something like an eagle feather, is a problem. It's just ridiculous. It's insane. And I'm so glad that we were able to change the policy.
So steps other students can take. Step 1, download or print a copy of your school's dress code. Create a new one that fits the needs of all students. Step 2, rally a group of students to advocate with you. I think this is the most important thing, because unfortunately for Delanie and I, it was just kind of Delanie and I, and going to school with 300 people and only having 2 of us, I can admit really did suck. Step 3, research your state laws regarding schools and dress codes. Step 4, have a meeting with your principals and superintendents discussing the dress code. Show them your proposal, take notes, and ask permission to record the conversation. I think this is the most important thing, if you are going to have a conversation, whether it be your employer or your principal, just school faculty in general, or wherever you're at, make sure you're writing down what they're saying. That's really important. Okay, step 5, contact organizations like the Crown Campaign, ACLU, NAACP, ADL, and Save Your VI, is specifically the local chapters in your state. This will help you a lot. And all of these organizations that I named, they wrote letters on our behalf, and that looked amazing. And that definitely got the attention to our school faculty for them to change the policy. Step 6, show your fight on social media and rally your community supporters to contact the school. That's important too. Again, it's important for people to hear out of state too, but in state, because they're more likely to help you because they're here, and they're beside you, they're here. Step 7, contact social media pages and local news stations and tell them about your fight to change your school's rule. Fortunately for us, we got the news involved, and it definitely helped, but some students aren't so fortunate, so make sure you're at least trying your best to get in contact with these individuals. Step 8, the most important is to not give up and be resilient. There was moments where I was just mentally drained and I didn't know what to do, and I just felt like, I honestly, for a moment, I felt that wearing head wraps were unprofessional. I was like, maybe it is true, maybe we shouldn't be wearing this, there's a time and place for everything. But if I want to express my culture, I have every right to do that. It doesn't matter when or where, whether it wants to be my house, my church, my school. I have the right to do that. Everyone does. So please remember that, and keep on posting on social media, never stop, and keep on having those meetings with the school faculty.
So we talked about our stories with hair discrimination, headwear discrimination, and how people can change it, and a timeline of natural hair and other things. But I think the most important thing and the obvious thing to talk about is the Crown Act. So what is the Crown Act? So the Crown Act stands for creating a respectful and open world for natural hair. The Crown Act was created in 2019 by Dove and the Crown Coalition to ensure protection against discrimination based on race-based hairstyles by extending statutory protection to hair texture and protective styles such as braids, locks, twists, and knots in the workplace and public schools. So those are some examples that I included in the slide. So I wanted to include a timeline of like in kind of important moments, during the development of the Crown Act. So in 2013, the Crown Act came about partially due to an Alabama case where the Equal Employment Commission filed a lawsuit on behalf of an African woman who refused to cut and restyle her dreadlocks. Unfortunately, she was later fired. In 2016, the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals stated that Title VII protected persons in respect to their immutable characteristics, but not cultural practices. This unfortunately did not include hairstyles, a matter of individual expression rather than a biological imperative. In 2019, the Crown campaign was informed by an interdisciplinary team of advocates with lived experiences of hair discrimination. They are currently advocating for the Crown Act to be passed in every state. We give big thanks to the Crown campaign for everything that they've done for us. We had those other organizations who helped us in the beginning, but the Crown Act really helped us to go beyond bigger and beyond than just being in, advocating for legislation. So
creating a bigger platform.
Yeah, they definitely helped us. I mean, they even got us connected to a panel. So with Representative AJ Pittman, who's also proposing legislation that has to do with hair discrimination, but hers is for the workplace and ours is for schools. But in 2019, in continuing, the Crown Coalition sponsored the Crown Act in California, introduced by Senator Holly Mitchell. California was the first state to sign the Crown Act into law. And then in 2020, the film Hair Love, which is an amazing film, and it's so adorable, by Matthew Cherry, won an Oscar for his short film, which called attention to ban hair discrimination by schools and employers. This helped to kind of gain attention around the Crown Act, especially DeAndre Arnold's his story, and his hair discrimination story was also a big part of that too. And seeing that these issues were being popularized in the media, but not for a clout reason, but for like a genuine reason that this happens, and this is how we need to love our hair, and this is why we need to love our hair. So yeah, this is just a short little timeline of the Crown Act. So in 2019, the Dove did a Crown research study, and they did a survey of 1,017 Black women and 1,050 non-Black women, which included ages 25 to 26. The non-Black women were mostly white, and the women had to be employed full-time. So the study showed really important statistics. Like 80% of Black women relate to the following statement: more than white women, I have to change my hair from its natural state to fit in at the office. While our story isn't really connected to workplaces, it's definitely an important thing to mention, the fact that the Crown Act and other hair discrimination lawsuits kind of started out from workplace discrimination and from employers, imposing grooming policies that are unrealistic.
For example, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Melba Toveler that she mentioned earlier, that was in 1971 and it's 2020, so this is still continuing.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. So other important statistics, like 30% of Black women are more likely to be made aware of a formal workplace appearance policy. Black women are 1.5 more times likely to be sent home because of their hair. 83% of Black women are more likely to report being judged more harshly on their looks than other women. And then just some key findings: Black women are more pleased in the workplace. They feel their hair is targeted, and they feel that they are constantly rated as less ready for job performance, which is extremely unfortunate. And then another thing is like 3.4 Black women Black women are 3.4 times more likely to be perceived as unprofessional. And it's an insane thing that like that's a thing that we fought our school policy, but we were also mindful of others. Of others, and what would happen after high school. Would we have moments where we would be discriminated against because of our hair in a workplace, or would they tell us to take off our head wrap? So these, researching this was definitely it was eye-opening, but it was also disheartening. So. And then here's a map that I took from the Crown Act website. So this shows like where the Crown Act has been passed, where it's been filed, where has it, it's not been passed. And so 7 down, 43 to go. We really hope to add Oklahoma to that list to, make it blue and to, show that like just because we're from a southern state, that doesn't mean that this is a thing that can be passed, and that hair discrimination, as weirdly as this is put, it happens here. And I know it's not a shocking point, but it's another point that like you need to add, because a lot of people forget that, like hair discrimination happens.
Mm-hmm.
So some examples of headwear and regalia discrimination in the workplace. Medina Brown is a Muslim woman who was barred from wearing her hijab from at the Newcastle County Detention Center. She was told, "Now you're looking like a terrorist." Oh my goodness. She was asked to remove her hijab or clock out. And because of that situation, her paychecks were as low as $1. And a discrimination complaint was filed by the Council on American Islamic Relations.
Okay, so Samantha, when Samantha was 17 years old, she applied for a job at, I'm sorry if I don't pronounce this right, I'm just going to say Fitch, in Tulsa, Oklahoma. She was denied the job because of her hijab. Her religious identity violated the look policy at the company, and the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission represented Samantha and sued. After investigating Samantha's incident and failing to reach a voluntary settlement, the employer EEOC filed a suit against the company, and taking the case all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. The court ruled in Samantha's favor. Luckily for her, there's so many situations that go complete opposite, and the jury awarded her $20,000. Okay, so examples of hair discrimination in the workplace. Brittany Noble Jones. So Brittany Noble Jones started working for WJTV in late 2015, and she often wore her hair in protective styles to prevent from damaging her hair, but she did wear her hair straight. She was a news anchor. In March 2017, she started wearing her natural hair more, and a month after she started doing that, her news director asked her to change her hair to its previous look because it was unprofessional. Completely unacceptable. In March 2018, she filed 2 complaints with Nexstar and filed a case with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. In May 2018, she was terminated from WJTV while caring for her dying grandfather. And unfortunately, that happens to so many Black women.
It's just a common, story, and it's unfortunate.
It really is. Chastity Jones. Chastity Jones was she is from Alabama, and she was offered a job in customer service at a call center in Mobile, Alabama in 2010. During her interview, she wore her hair in natural locks, and it was short. Her HR manager told her that her dreadlocks violated the dress code because they tend to get messy. And Miss Jones told her that she was not going to cut her hair. So the job offer was took back, and it's completely ridiculous. Once again, another example of what's happening and what happened. Okay, so examples of headwear and regalia discrimination in schools. Malachi Wilson. In 2014, 5-year-old Malachi Wilson was sent home early from his first day of kindergarten because of his long hair, and they said it conflicted with the dress code. He didn't receive haircuts because, he is a member of the Navajo Nation, and it goes against his religion. And his dress code states, "Boys' hair shall be cut neatly and often enough to ensure good grooming." The principal told his mother that he would be able to attend class again when his hair was cut. And his mother even had to provide documentation that he was a part of the Navajo Nation. And at that point, it wasn't an issue, and it shouldn't have even gotten that far. No one should have to prove what ethnicity they are or what race. No one should have to do that. So luckily, he was able to wear his hair the way it was before. Adriel. In 2009, 5-year-old Adriel was forced to wear his long hair. He had 2 long braids, and he had to tuck it inside of his shirt because it went against the school's headwear policy on hair length. He is an Apache Native, and his family considers their hair to be sacred and not to be cut unless it's major life events such as death. He came to school with 2 long braids. He attended class in isolation from the other students. So, for example, like ISS or ISD. And the ACLU picked up this case, and a judge granted a temporary injunction that allowed Adriel to attend regular classes. Examples of headwear discrimination in schools. Emil Somerville in September 2019, the 12-year-old was instructed by his principal to remove his do-rag because it signified gang affiliation. His mother met with the principal along with another activist, and they banned them from the school grounds and even called the police on them. Unfortunately for him, he got transferred to another school because there was no negotiating. And a few days later, the school board wrote a letter of apology. Even though they wrote the apology, no apology can make up for what happened to him, and especially being told at 12 years old that what you're wearing, you're in a gang, or for example, the story I was mentioning earlier about Medina Brown being told like, now you're looking like a terrorist, makes you feel really bad. And again, it's demeaning. Would you like to read this one?
Yeah. So Janiyah Miller, in February 2019, Janiyah Miller wore a Nigerian head wrap to school. She was approached by her principal and was asked about her headwear. She explained to them that the meaning of it and why it was important to her, but unfortunately was told to remove it. The principal notified her mother that the head wrap must be removed or she would have to sit in school suspension. Camden Academy said that the incident was a violation of their uniform policy and was handled correctly and professionally. So the impacts of hair discrimination, I think this is another important thing to talk about, is poor self-esteem and this large effect that happens when it comes to hair discrimination, especially for us. Mm-hmm. This was, even before hair discrimination, when we would wear our head wraps, I remember being called, a terrorist or all these other negative names, and it was just unfortunate. But as far as like the impacts of the hair discrimination and being told or having grooming policies that say your hair is unclean and professional, mm-hmm. That it's a gang affiliated or that this and that, and it piles up and it creates this
uncomfortable environment.
Yeah, and it adds to the cycle of negativity because high school is an essential part of our our learning and our perception of other people, and to to have a policy that says that your hair is unclean or this and that it just contributes to the negative and poor stereotypes, mm-hmm. of Black hair. Another thing is educational setbacks. Personally for us, we had to get out of school or get out of class a lot in order to talk to our principal or superintendent. And this is like our personal setback, but I don't know if this relates to all, but I assume it does. I mean, considering that some people are suspended or they're put in ISD or etc. It's just sad. So steps on how you can get involved according to the Crown campaign. 1 is policy review. Check out work and grooming policies that impact you and your family. 2, constituent power. Support local leaders and state legislative members introducing policies like the Crown Act, where you live. 3, advocacy. Inform your friends and family about hair discrimination. Share how to respect and support people with natural hair and the work of the Crown Act. Number 4, Crown champions. Become an advocate in your community, leading conversations and events to raise awareness and education towards policy change. And then 5, lastly, education. Be open to having natural hair conversations with your friends and families and with individuals from diverse cultures as an educational opportunity for social justice. And if you want any more information, you can visit thecrowncampaign.com and follow them on Instagram to stay
amazing.
updated. Yes,
amazing.
So.
So inspiring change. Our main goal is to break the stereotypes about Black hairstyles being unclean and unprofessional, because that's completely untrue. We recognize that being isn't the only policy that had a discriminatory policy. There's so many other schools that still do, unfortunately. And we really want to open the conversation about natural hairstyles and why these rules are discriminatory, and why saying things like your hair is unprofessional, you should straighten your hair more often, that is discriminatory, and that should not be said to anyone. As of now, we really want to assist others in their fight. It doesn't matter if you live in Oklahoma or if you don't. We want to just assist anyone, because again, it's just not our fight. It's bigger than hair. It's bigger than headwear. It's a huge problem. It's nationwide, happened in Jamaica, England, everywhere. And if you look on the right side of the screen, these are schools in Oklahoma still to this day that have discriminatory headwear policies, and those aren't the only ones. That's only just a small list. There's so many other schools in Oklahoma that have discriminatory policies, unfortunately.
So what our plans are, we talk about our story of changing our policy, learning to love our hair, and how other students can change it. But I think that we want to put our words to action. And with the Crown campaign, they really inspired us to go for the Crown Act and bring that to Oklahoma. Coming from a more conservative state, this might not seem like an issue that's big, but I truly feel like we'll have people that are rallying behind us. We already do. So next year, Representative Denise Brewer will present our bill to stop hair and headwear discrimination in Oklahoma public schools. And we will be also looking for co-sponsors for our bill. And another thing that we'll be planning to do and work on is social media. We plan on expanding our advocacy efforts on our social media. We want to gain more media attention around the Crown Act by making posts and using our hashtags, My Culture, My Say, Head Wraps Matter, For the Culture Fridays, and School Discrimination Saturdays. Those are posts that we made or we used to do, and we kind of stopped doing it, but we really want to gain more attention around the Crown Act. And so just a little explanation about our bill. It's about public schools, and I worked on it for a few months with the Crown campaign, and we had in parts about the history and why this is important and why it's needed, and we want to kind of amend the dress code policy in Oklahoma and make it more inclusive and add in a part where we can talk about
our struggles, and not even just for Black hair, but Indigenous hair and so many other people, and just people of color as a whole, because, obviously Black people aren't the only ones going through headwear and hair discrimination. So we want to be as inclusive as possible.
So here are our sources. Thank you to the people who wrote these articles, who made these presentations for us to use the information from. So thank you so much for listening to our presentation.
Yeah, it has been quite a journey.
And sticking through with all this. I know there was a lot of information. Our journey was difficult, but I think it's not impossible. And I think that we can attest to that. And the biggest thing we want to do is inspire other people to change their policies, whether it be school or workplace. I think it's both important, and not just to change your policy, but go bigger. You have the right to go bigger than just changing your school's policy.
Yes.
Go for legislation. I think that's very important while, we're waiting for the Crown Act to be passed federally.
And I think the biggest thing is to be resilient and not give up, because there will be times where you're going to be so frustrated. But, we have came a long way. Obviously still discriminatory stuff happens, but we are coming a long way. And, it's people like us and people like DeAndre Arnold and other people who are talking about these issues and sharing their stories that inspire, us around us in our community and locally.
But if you have any questions, you can email us. We put our emails on there. Credits to SlidesGo and Free Pick, and for making this slide and for help, letting us use the art. And yeah, follow us on social media if you want to stay updated about like our advocacy and our posts about other people. And if you have a story of your own, so
send it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening. And please, reach out to the Crown Act, reach out to the Crown campaign, reach out to us. You have options. And
you have support. We hear you. We might not be there with you, but just know there's people who have went through similar things, and we're more than happy to help.
Yeah. So thank you again for listening. And again, if you have any questions, email us.
We gotta change the world. We gotta change the world. Yeah. People with lived experience institute. Source of solution. Unapologetic truth. Radical leaders. Because people matter. Because people matter. We have lived through iniquities. We know the challenges. We have the solutions. We address voice. We address power dynamics. We address inequities. Systems transformation through explicit truth. Explicit truth is bold. Explicit truth is uncomfortable. We are not here to make you comfortable, but we're here for change. Explicit truth is uncomfortable. We are not here to make you comfortable. Experience Institute. Our community wants to live. Our community wants to thrive. People with lived experience. Leading with unapologetic truth. Radical leadership for change. We have the solutions. We address voice. We address power dynamics. We address equities. System transformation through explicit truth. Explicit truth is bold. Explicit truth is uncomfortable. We are not here to make you comfortable. Truth is uncomfortable. We are not here to make you comfortable, but we're here for change. People with lived experience institute. People with lived experience institute. Change the world, change the world.